Hello and welcome. Today, we are sinking our teeth into some really fascinating research from sociologist Mike Savage. He set out to unmask this invisible monster that honestly shapes all of our lives, social class. We all think we know what it is, but what if the rules have totally changed right under our noses?
You know the story, right? We hear it all the time. Work hard, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and you can be anything you want to be. It's the big promise of our society. But is it actually true? Or are we all just playing a game where the rules were written long before we even showed up? A game that might have already decided whether we win or lose. For a while there, it was a popular idea that class was a thing of the past. We were all middle class now, right? And the only thing that mattered was your talent and how hard you were willing to work. Well, Mike Savage and his team decided to put that to the test. They conducted the biggest social survey in UK history to find out, and what they found was pretty shocking. So here's the core argument, the big takeaway from all their research. Class never died, not even close. It just became invisible. It stopped being about obvious things like your job title, and instead, it put on this sophisticated new mask that makes it way harder to see, but maybe even more powerful than ever. Think about it for a second. The old idea of class was pretty simple to spot, wasn't it? You were either a worker or an owner, a laborer or a landlord. It was basically defined by what you did for a living. But today's class system, it's a much more subtle game. It's not just about what's in your bank account. It's a really complex mix of three different kinds of wealth, or what sociologists call capital. So how do we unmask this new system? Well, Savage uses this really powerful tool from the legendary sociologist Pierre Bourdieu, and it's this idea that our real place in society is decided by three different kinds of capital. Let's break down what they are. These are the three currencies that truly matter in the 21st century: economic, social, and cultural. And honestly, if you can get your head around these three, you've got the key to understanding the whole new class system. Okay, first up, economic capital. This is the one we all know, right? It's the most obvious one. It's the cash, the house, the investments, basically the financial resources you've got. It's definitely important, but here's the thing. It's only 1/3 of the picture. Next, you've got social capital. Now, this is where things get really interesting. This is that subtle, almost invisible power of your network. You've heard the saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Well, that's exactly this. It's the wealth that comes from your connections. Let's make this real. Imagine two people, Amit and Sumit, interviewing for the exact same job. On paper, they're identical, same skills, same qualifications. But Amit's dad plays golf with the senior manager at the company. Sumit doesn't know a soul there. Who do you think has the edge before they even walk in the door? That, right there, is social capital in action. And finally, we have what might be the most invisible and powerful one of all, cultural capital. This isn't about being cultured in the old-fashioned sense. It's more like a secret code. It's knowing the unspoken rules of the game. It's the way you talk, the music you like, the jokes you get. It's all the subtle signals that tell people whether you belong in certain elite circles. So, here's the crucial part. When you stop looking at society just through the simple lens of money, and you start analyzing it using all three of these capitals, a completely new social ladder just snaps into view. A whole new map of our world. And get this is probably the study's most stunning finding. We don't have just three classes anymore, upper, middle, and lower. No. Savage's research reveals 7 distinct social classes, showing a much, much more complicated reality. Let's take a look at the breakdown. Way up at the top, you've got the elite. They make up just 6% of the population, and they are absolutely swimming in all three capitals. But then look down at the bottom. There's a new and growing class they call the precariat, and it's a huge chunk of the population, 15%. And the contrast between these two extremes, it is just staggering. The elite live in this secure, protected bubble. Their money and networks are like a giant safety net. They're the ones who get to define the rules of success for everyone else. And the precariat? Their life is defined by one word: precarious. Constant uncertainty. They have almost no capital of any kind, and they are often socially isolated, pretty much just fighting to survive day to day. So what about everyone else in between, the so-called middle class? Well, the research suggests it's not really one stable group at all. It's more like a fractured battleground full of anxiety. For example, you might have a tech worker who makes great money, high economic capital,
but feels completely out of place at a fancy dinner because he doesn't know about modern art or European ski resorts. He's hit an invisible wall of cultural capital.
This brings us to the most important, and let's be honest, maybe the most depressing question of all. If this is the new ladder, can you still climb it? Is social mobility even real anymore? I mean, the promise of our society is that, yes, of course you can. That if you just have enough grit and talent, you can make it to the top no matter where you start. But does the actual data back that up?
Well, the bleak reality, according to Savage's data, is that social mobility is way, way lower than we like to think it is. The overwhelming majority of people live and die in the same social class they were born into. The race, for most of us, is pretty much decided before it even starts. The source material just puts it so perfectly. Your starting line is more important than your running speed. In other words, the advantages you're born with are a much bigger predictor of your success than your own individual effort. It's a rigged race. So what's the point of all this? Is it just to make us feel hopeless? Not at all. The main call to action from this research isn't about finding some simple solution. It's about developing a critical awareness of the world around us. See, this research doesn't hand you a magic key to escape. Instead, it holds up a mirror. A mirror to help you see, maybe for the very first time, the invisible bars that surround all of us. Because the moment you can see the walls of your cage is the moment you become bigger than the cage itself. Awareness is always the first step. So let's just pull it all together real quick. Class is not dead. It's just gone undercover. It's now defined by 3 different capitals: economic, social, and cultural. This creates a new 7-tiered society where that whole idea of a true meritocracy, well, it's seriously challenged. And that brings us to the final crucial question. This research holds up a mirror to the uncomfortable, hidden structures of our society. It shows us the cage. So the question it leaves every one of us with is this: now that you can see it, what are you going to do?